Alright, you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Benjamin J, and this is the home and the hub of anything and everything manga and anime related in my life. Now today, we have a very special episode for you guys. We are going to be exploring the importance of coffee within the Tokyo Ghouls franchise, which I think is, there's a lot that could be said, and I couldn't find like some good videos on this, so hang on for that. And I'm going to show you how to do a standard pour over coffee, which Kaneki learns how to make at Anteiku, which is the cafe of which Yoshimura runs, and is pretty much a staple for a lot of important scenes that happen within the franchise, okay? So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into it, okay? I always found it interesting that ghouls could drink coffee within the Tokyo Ghoul franchise. Now, coffee seems to stay consistent throughout the plotline of Tokyo Ghoul, which I absolutely loved. I looked at coffee as more or less an anchor for Kaneki so that he could empathize more with the duality of his character, being half human and half ghoul. Coffee is a very human thing and has its roots far, far back in humanity's history. Coffee is thought to have originated from the region of which humans first started out, Ethiopia. It was also thought that ghouls have originated from somewhere in the Middle East. In Tokyo Ghoul lore, the tribe that would have come from the Middle East and kind of that started it all here would have been the Washu tribe. Now, the Washu tribe was thought to have practiced cannibalism for generations and generations, leading to an extremely high RC cell count. Ishida does make a notion towards this mystery in chapter 116, where Toka is explaining to Yoshimura that she may want to go study biology to sort of maybe figure out, where and how ghouls came into existence. Now, Ishida does depict a small little chart. It's a small little panel that shows monkeys turning into man and man sort of maybe turning into ghouls. Either way, it does imply that something along the lines did happen and that Toka is very interested in exactly what happened. Okay, now it didn't take him too long to realize that coffee could help stave off those cravings for human flesh. Now, unfortunately, this wasn't a cure-all. He couldn't put this on bread, or he couldn't just drink coffee and just solely survive off of that. He quickly realized that this was only going to be sort of a band-aid on the problem. It's not an actual solution, but it wasn't too long until we found Kaneki in the market actually bulk buying coffee. I related to Kaneki quite a bit in that scene because that's sort of what I do. We see Kaneki in the supermarket bulk buying coffee, and this is when we run into one of my all-time favorite characters within this series. In chapter 4, we run into Nishiki, okay? And he bumps into Kaneki as they're at the store and they're both shopping for coffee, right? Now, Nishiki says something interesting about coffee, which we're gonna harp on for one quick second. He describes blondie coffee as being the best instant coffee with real body. Now, what is body when it comes into the coffee world? What does it mean when someone says that coffee has full body or real body? Well, pretty much this sums up to a flavorful mouth feel, okay? Now we're getting into very subjective territory, all right? So coffee body can be described as a heavy taste and the characteristics, that go along with that taste, okay? Now, the fact that Nishiki knows all of this when he refers to the body of blondie coffee to Kaneki, I mean, that's just like another reason why I just really like Nishiki as a character within the Tokyo Ghoul franchise. Now, I want to harp on something that Yoshimura said in chapter 10 when he was referencing Anteiku, okay, or Anteiku. Not quite sure how to correctly say the coffee shop name, but you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Now, he refers to the coffee shop as not just a place where people can come drink coffee, but more or less a meeting grounds for ghouls in the 20th ward. A safe place, so to say. It speaks volumes to me because I think throughout history, coffee has always been a source of comfort for humans. Now, I also think that coffee is a huge connecting factor among humans, and I think that Ishida is leveraging this very well, okay? Let's take, for example, a farmer to a creative director to a business tycoon to a single struggling mom, right? All of them might have a connecting thread where some point during the day they might want a cup of coffee, right? So it's sort of just like equal ground for a lot of people. On Tokyo Ghoul, coffee is pretty much used as a tension release moment or a calm before the storm moment. Think of, you're at a cafe and it's raining. It might be chaotic outside, right? But within that cafe, even if it's bustling, it's sort of calm, quiet, you don't feel stressed out, so on and so forth. That's such a human feeling. I think people resonate with that feeling a lot, okay? You're at that, you guys probably all knew what I was talking about. It's raining and you might be at a cafe, yet it's oddly cozy and you're studying right now, or you're reading something, or so on and so forth. And even though it's completely chaotic outside, or it's gonna get crazy when you have to pack stuff up and sort of run to your car, in that moment, you're calm, it's peaceful, you have the smell of the cafe, the vibe of the cafe, you can get your studying done, so on and so forth. Ishida harnesses that feeling very, very well and displays it and captures it through these small little moments that have to do with coffee throughout the story. Some examples of that might actually be, we see Token using coffee to help her study, or the very intense scene when Shinohara is actually, interrogating Yoshimura about Kaneki. Or in the later end of Tokyo Ghoul, when you sort of see Irumi and Koma share a cup of coffee in almost a calm before the storm moment, right before the big battle at the very end. Okay, Editing Ben coming at you guys. Now, I want to make just two little quick statements here of two incredibly important scenes that involve coffee. One, the one that you're seeing on screen right now, which is, you guys already probably know what happens after that, but coffee played such an integral part of this scene. It's like another tension release moment. The next one we're going to talk about, of course, is Toka being reunited with Kaneki, okay? The smell of coffee, the taste of coffee, the sight of Toka. It was an wonderful, it was an absolute beautiful moment in both the anime and the source material, the manga, okay? All right, let's continue on. No matter race or color, people drink coffee all over the world, and I love how Ishida, uses this, sort of philosophy within Tokyo Ghoul. Coffee is the connector between ghouls and humans, or at least one of them, right? And I think Kaneki walks this path of duality and sort of uses coffee as an anchor for his character to keep one foot in into being a human and one foot in to being a ghoul. Now, of course, if you've read the story, sometimes both feet go certain ways, but it very much is an anchor for Kaneki, and I think probably other characters within the story, right? It's something that they both can do. Humans go to Anteiku and they enjoy a cup of coffee among ghouls peacefully without even knowing it, okay? And I just love how Ishida uses that throughout the series. But how do we actually make the coffee? Okay, so quickly let's jump into some B-roll, and I will explain how to make a quick version of the pour over coffee method that we see in Tokyo Ghoul, of course with my little spin on it, okay? Okay, coming up first, we're gonna have our filters to go ahead and filter our coffee. Next, you're gonna need some sort of kettle. My personal favorite is a gooseneck. Then I'm gonna ask that you guys have some sort of coffee scale. Go ahead and Amazon that for future references. Then, of course, we're gonna need our favorite coffee. Currently, I'm drinking right now Counterculture coffee. Then you're gonna need a grinder. I'm using a burr grinder for today's episode. Go ahead and choose your filter. And we are now going to wet our filters to go ahead and clean it and get rid of the taste that would be straight from the box. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and dump in our freshly grounded coffee. Look here on screen so that you guys can find the consistency that I think would match perfectly for pour over coffee. Now we're gonna be making 2 cups of coffee today, one for you, one for your friend. And to do that, we're gonna need roughly around 52 grams of coffee per 700 grams of water. Now I am beginning the blooming process, which is releasing the gases that are trapped within the beans. So those CO2 gases that we don't want, and pretty much beginning the brewing process. Now, of course, you see here, there's a little over 700 grams, but we should be okay. And then you're gonna have a nice cup of coffee. Let the brewing process go for about 30 seconds, and the rest should take roughly around 4 to 5 minutes, and you will have yourself a beautiful, beautiful cup of coffee. It wasn't until roughly around the 13th century where we start to see people actually starting to roast coffee, which would sort of mark the beginning steps to modern day coffee as we know it today. Now, coffee has been part of human culture for hundreds and hundreds of years. It connects us. It gets us going in the morning when we really need it. It helps relax us. And it's thought-provoking all at the same time. I love how Ishida uses coffee within Tokyo Ghoul, and I hope after watching this video, you do too. Now, in the words of our great ancestors, after drinking a cup of coffee, I gotta go pee, because this has been a bunch of takes of just drinking coffee and I gotta go pee. All right guys, I will see you in the next video.